To get the most from your Linux hacking system, you need to understand environment variables and be adapted at managing them for optimal performance, convenience, and even stealth. So among the areas that Linux newcomers find problematic, however, managing the user environment variables might be the most difficult to master. So technically, there are two types of variables. The first is shell and the second is environment. So environment variables are system-wide variables built into your system and interface that control the way your system looks, acts, and feels to the user, and they are inherited by any child shells or processors. So shell variables, on the other hand, are typically listed in lowercase and are only valid in the shell they are set in. So to avoid over-explanation, I just cover some of the most basic and useful skills for environment and shell variables in these lectures, and don't go too deeply into the differences between them. So variables are simply strings in key value pairs. So generally each pair will look like this, for example, key and value, key here and value here. So in cases where there are multiple values, they will look like this here: value 1, value 2, and value 3, and vice versa here. So as with the most things in Linux, if there are spaces in the value, it needs to be contained in a quotation marks here, like that. Value 4. So in Kali Linux, your environment in your bash shell is your bash shell. So each user, including root, has a default set of environment variables that determine how the system looks, acts, and feels. So you can change the values for these variables to make your system work more efficiently, tailor your work environment to best meet your individual needs, and potentially cover your tracks if you need to. So viewing and modifying environment variables. So you can view all your default environment variables by entering any v into your terminal from any directory, like so here. So as you can see, there is my environment variables here. So environment variables are always uppercase, as you can see here. Including shell variables, local variables, and shell functions, such as any user-defined variables and command aliases. So use the set command. This command will list all environment variables unique to your system, which is the most cases will give you an output so long you won't be able to view it all on a single screen here. As you can see here, we have so many environment variables here. As you can see here, we can see because it's so many here. So we can do like that, set here, set, and more here. Now we can see like that by pressing enter. We can see sequentially. So let's see more, and press in one time Control and C or X to quit here. So now the list variables here, as you can see here, will fill up on a screen line by line and then stop. When you press enter like that, or space, or in space, you will see more here. Taking you to the next variable, so you can scroll through pressing or holding enter like that. So as you might recall from previous chapters and lectures, whenever you use the more command for output, you can enter key Q to or exit and return command to prompt here, Q here like that, or Control plus X here. So filtering for particular variables. Let me see here. So Altoct using set with more gives more manageable results than looking through the huge chunk of variable names you get with the set alone like that. It can still be rather tedious if you are looking for a particular variable. Instead, you can use the filtering command grep to find your variable of interest. So let's use the variable hist size as an example. So this variable contains hist size. This variable contains the maximum number of comments your command history file will store. So hist size is the maximum number of commands your command history file will store. Those commands are any ones you have previously typed into your command prompt in the session and can be recalled with your up here, up and down keywords like that. So note that the hist size doesn't store the commands themselves, just a number of them that can be stored. So pipe your set here, set output grep, actually grep hist size here. As you can see, hist size is 1000. As you can see, the command finds the variable hist size and displays its value. The default value of this variable is probably set to 1000 here, as you can see on your system too. So this indicates that terminal will store your last 1000 commands by default.